6th birthday. There's clearly trouble in paradise, and she's trying to cover it up, and she thinks that we are stupid enough to fall for that crap.
You know, if you didn't know the story behind the whole lot,
Fantasy is collapsing in Montecito, and this time, Harry and Meghan are experiencing a crisis because it's to something other than public reaction or royal disfavor. The local administration has made a decision that has shocked the wealthy. The $14 million Montecito property owned by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex has been formally marked for a land use compliance assessment by County Supervisor Dos Williams. The public was warned. I won't warn you again. A formerly immaculate home that was touted as the epitome of solitude, luxury, and the environment is now under investigation.
Harry is as erratic and unstable as a lot of us have been speculating.
Do you think the Princess of Wales would have deliberately worn a Victoria Beckham outfit to show some kind of sign?
I think she would have done, yeah. She certainly did.
For potentially misrepresenting the usage of the property and breaking local regulations. Insiders reveal that this is not a minor infraction, despite Harry and Meghan's frantic attempts to minimize the problem. Let's examine how the Sussexes transitioned from royalty to regulation, and why this controversy could blow out more than anybody anticipated. It might be a legal and financial catastrophe, and the timing couldn't be worse. This is the official DOS of Santa Barbara County. It's not rumor. A formal compliance assessment of the Sussexes' expansive Montecito home has been initiated by Williams. Why? Due to mounting worries that the house would violate land use and zoning regulations in the county.
A thing quite so strange and bizarre of Prince Harry on a doorbell camera walking around knocking apparently randomly for friends in a street in West London.
I felt it.
Strange. These are not unfounded charges. Numerous complaints from surrounding people claiming that the land was being utilized in ways that were against local laws prompted the inquiry, according to DOS. I won't warn you again. Williams has made it quite plain. It's more than a warning. For a couple who fled the royal life to avoid authority, it is a line in the sand. They now have to deal with accusations of commercial usage, unlawful events, and a new form of authority that doesn't favor any one party. What specifically led to this probe then? The Montecito house may have been utilized for private celebrity events, commercial shooting, promotional picture shoots, and even possible content production without the required permissions, according to county documents and local rumors.
Doors when they go places, and so there he was trying to find his friends. He must have a poor memory because, or not seen the friends for a long while, because he knocked 3 or 4 doors. And in fact,
Remember that Meghan and Harry have signed multiple media deals, including with Netflix and Spotify, with many scenes, photos, and interviews filmed on location. This is a clear violation of residential zoning restrictions, which clearly limit commercial activity in quiet, high-value neighborhoods like Montecito. Now, the issue is whether they used their estate as a private studio without informing the county, or whether they registered this operation lawfully.
The doorbell phone, no, it was bizarre. And but what was strange about that, Matt, was, of course, that was the day when he was in court trying to get the government to pay for it.
This is more than just a smack on the wrist if it turns out to be accurate. There is increasing annoyance over this fine-worthy infraction, which might harm their carefully manicured, eco-conscious image hidden behind Montecito's velvet curtains and multi-million-dollar houses.
£1 million, by the way, after losing this case. This is a very lengthy, very expensive case to the taxpayer.
Yeah.
And he was in court that week, and his lawyers were arguing that his life was at stake in the UK. And then here we have one doorbell photo. We understand there's other CCTV of him in the street.
And the Sussexes are its immediate target. Residents claim that the continual barrage of attention, media hordes, camera teams, and security noise around Harry and Meghan's residence has worn them out. What was once a calm celebrity haven has long since devolved into a public relations circus. The homeowner from Montecito was cited as
and Lilibet on it. It's just strange. And I think, first of all, I mean, there's some interest. I don't know what Harry was trying to cover up with that hat. I don't know if it's male pattern baldness, but I think that whole thing was so contrived, as you said, Arthur. And I just think that Meghan is the biggest
They relocated here in order to have solitude, but now they're showcasing our area. The royal neighbors are beginning to feel like collateral damage in the Sussexes' worldwide fame campaign because of drone flyovers and private parties. Some have even suggested that this isn't the first time the county has taken significant action in response to concerns.
There is eco-luxury. the criticism of sustainability claims only gets worse. As the county has started to look more closely, concerns are starting to arise about the veracity of Meghan and Harry's long-standing assertions that their Montecito estate is a shining example of sustainable and ethical luxury.
As Samara said, it's just contrived, and that'd be interesting to know who took them. It wasn't bylined. I never saw anywhere. I never saw anybody photographer's name on any of the pictures.
It may well be one of their team with a smartphone, because
Yeah,
smartphones
probably,
are
yeah,
great these days.
yeah.
But it really has been a week of of contrasting pictures, as you
Yeah.
just pointed out there. We've got the doorbell.
It's not only humiliating that investigators are looking into their water use during California droughts and landscape changes that could have gotten around environmental regulations in a state where water conservation is required by law, according to preliminary reports. Flying on private aircraft while advocating for carbon neutrality is possibly unlawful for a couple who have lectured the world about climate responsibility. This is just another example of hypocrisy, and the public is unlikely to overlook it. Harry and Meghan are themselves embroiled in a whole different royal predicament.
An Instagram star. What do you make of her Instagram page so far? Is it a hit? Is it achieving what she wants, what her aims are for this page?
I was looking at it the other day for something I was going to write, and it's just quite sad, to be honest. I actually do think that when I look at that page and I look at some of the pathetic...
But this time, there isn't a palace to keep them safe. The company is not criticizing them, and the tabloids are not pursuing them. Due to zoning infractions and sustainability issues, they are being investigated by their own community. The Montecito dream is rapidly coming apart, and Doss Williams has already said that they must follow the laws or face the repercussions. Now, the issue is straightforward. Will Harry and Meghan be held responsible at last, or will they attempt to break the laws they never meant to follow?
cheapo image, in my opinion. It makes me think you left all of that. You left the iconic British royal family so that you could have an Instagram page and post a couple of photos of you picking lemons in an orchard. It really doesn't weigh up, but I think it is where Meghan is most comfortable.
There's more to this issue than merely a problem of reputation. For Harry and Meghan Santa, it can turn into an expensive financial nightmare. Strict zoning and land use regulations are in place in Barber County, and if their inquiry reveals illegal commercial activity, the consequences could be severe. We may be facing fines of thousands of dollars, the forced closure of operations, or even limitations on future improvements and the use of the property. This couldn't have happened at a worse moment, considering the Sussexes' high-maintenance lifestyle. Not to mention that Spotify ended its agreement. Their Netflix programming is American and lackluster. The Empire's not the Riviera Orchard. Meghan.
And that's the way they work in America. They think that's the next big deal, and maybe she's got that worked out already.
I mentioned there about popularity. There was, just before we sat down, there was a YouGov poll that was released on royal family favourability.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are in control of their narrative. Get ready, because we are officially watching what can only be described as a full-blown financial reckoning so deep it makes their Netflix deal look like a minor footnote in a much darker story. And folks, yes, it's hitting harder than Musk trying to explain AI without sounding dumb, or Trump rewriting history with Sharpie ink, because boom, just like that, suddenly the Sussexes aren't just struggling with relevance or ratings, they're staring down legal fees, government penalties, and a brand collapse so complete, it's making even their most loyal defenders quietly update their resumes and wonder where exactly they signed up for this. They wanted independence. They claimed they were breaking free from the monarchy to build their own future, but now that future looks less like liberation and more like litigation. And honey, nothing says fall from grace quite like having your name tied to mounting lawsuits instead of headlines while the world waits for your trademark rapid response PR machine to kick in. But it hasn't. No rebuttal, no op-ed, no Spotify speech, no Netflix confession. Just silence so loud it makes Trump's last press blackout look like a TED Talk. And insiders say the couple is laying low, staying quiet while the scandal grows legs and starts walking on its own, and trust me, nothing says exposure quite like being known for dodging questions instead of answering them. Because when your entire entire operation runs on illusion, eventually someone shows up with light, and baby, that light just turned on.
Royal family is the mystery behind it all. The fact that people don't know a lot of what goes on behind closed doors. And that's where Meghan's got it all wrong, because she's broadcast her entire life out to us, and we've actually judged it. And we've said that's kind of bland and boring and actually quite sad, to be honest.
The Sussexes can outrun consequences with charm and Netflix deals. Get ready, because we are officially watching Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in full panic mode, baby. And suddenly, they're not just dodging palace protocol or Hollywood executives, they're dealing with county code enforcement in Montecito, a far less forgiving opponent than royal PR teams or tabloid editors. Sources close to Montecito County staff claim officials have already reached out privately, desperately trying to resolve the issue behind the scenes without triggering another media firestorm. But honey, it's way too late for silence to save them now. The public already knows, the internet already memed it, and worse, the local authorities aren't playing by royal rules. They play by zoning laws, building codes, and legal mandates that don't care how many charity campaigns you've hosted or how many Oprah interviews you've given. This isn't Buckingham Palace etiquette. This is real-world accountability wrapped in red tape and delivered with zero mercy. There's no press secretary to rewrite the narrative, no spin doctor to smooth things over. Just inspectors, permits, and the crushing reality that when your brand of crisis management looks less like diplomacy and more like damage control written in disappearing ink, you don't just face fines, you face exposure, you face scrutiny, and suddenly you look less like noble humanitarians and more like entitled celebrities who thought money could buy them out of basic compliance. And folks, nothing says vulnerability quite like realizing the system you're trying to game doesn't even know you're famous.
So I don't always like pitting the Duchess of Sussex against the Princess of Wales. It's not always helpful, but Catherine's top. Okay, Catherine and William are always top of this poll. This week, Princess of Wales has been very visible. We had the video, I'm calling it Kate Outdoors, by the way, Woman for All Seasons. But this is this video talking about
that they're up against Dos Williams.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry can run from accountability like they ran from royal life. Get ready, because we are officially watching what can only be described as a full-blown credibility collapse so brutal it made the internet collectively gasp before immediately screenshotting everything and sending it to every royal gossip group chat known to man. And folks, yes, it hit harder than Musk trying to explain inflation without sounding dumb, or Trump rewriting history mid-sentence with Sharpie ink, because boom, just like that, suddenly they're not in Windsor anymore. They're in Montecito, up against Dos Williams, a veteran local leader who doesn't play games with zoning laws or celebrity status. And honey, he's not flinching. Not for billionaires, not for ex-royals, not even for people who once pretended they wanted privacy but now look like they turned their mansion into a media production hub faster than Netflix renews a show no one asked for. And while Meghan and Harry keep posting serene shots of their dog in meditation corners like they're starring in their own version of The Crown minus the crown, insiders say Dos has been getting complaints for months. Unauthorized landscaping, weird construction, drone activity, ignored warnings, and boom, he's finally had enough. He didn't just send another notice, he flagged them. And trust me, nothing says you're not special here quite like having a local councilman treat your property violations like any other case on his desk. No titles, no fame, no global sympathy, just rules. And suddenly the couple that once claimed they left the monarchy for peace, quiet, and mental health awareness is facing a reckoning written in permits, punchlines, and public outrage. Because British media and royal commentators are feasting on this scandal like it was served at Buckingham Palace brunch, calling it poetic justice, hashtagging the hell out of it with #Shaw scandal, #zombie royals, and Montecito mess, while fans and critics alike are flipping from support to suspicion faster than Musk tries to delete a tweet after realizing he sounded dumb. Because when your idea of family life looks less like retreat and more like revenue generation, wrapped in velvet and Instagram filters, suddenly you don't look private, you look performative. And honey, nothing says hypocrisy quite like demanding peace while running a content empire louder than Trump screaming China during a debate about windmills. So yes, folks, while Meghan and Harry keep pretending this is just another bump in the road, while they keep Googling how to disappear between interviews and wondering why nobody claps when they say mental health awareness anymore, the county wants answers, the neighbors want silence, and Dos Williams, he's done playing nice. Because when your entire operation runs on illusion, eventually someone shows up with light, with logic, with subpoenas, and baby, that scalpel just got sharper than ever. Boom, just like that.